Matt Taibbi has a really good piece in Rolling Stone, and Donald Trump is symbolic of it, and now Greg Gianforte is symbolic of it, and now Michael Grimm in New York, in Staten Island, the guy who threatened to break a reporter in half like a boy and throw him off a balcony while he was under a 20-count indictment, federal indictment, and then won by like 20 points or won by 13 points in a district with a well-funded Democrat. Like, I mean, the degree to which Democrats find ways to lose
it's insane.
To these monsters, these are subhuman species. Donald Trump is not only not best of us, he's in the bottom 6% of us, right? So is this guy, right? So is Michael Grimm. And Democrats are finding ways to lose, and we're running the wrong candidates. And Rob Quist gave it what he could. I don't know that the National Party maybe could have been involved more, but they did eventually at least throw some of their weight behind it, unlike what they did in Kansas. But we have got to figure something out. Like, this is not being done correctly, and in here to the apparently large swath to my left that I was unaware of. To my left, you're right, my left. Like, there's where we're going to find some agreement that we need to talk about different things. We need to have, because these guys, if you can't beat Greg Gianforte, I got it. Redistricting, these electoral districts are ridiculously drawn, and they're drawn for guys like Greg Gianforte.
And judges are catching on to that.
Yes, and we got a huge swath, and the Republicans are 10 times worse. But if we can't figure out, and they'll play dirty, and but if we can't figure out a way to beat Michael Grimm and Greg Gianforte and Donald Trump, well then largely as a major contributory, impactful party in this country, we're done. And I think the way to do it is to speak to voters in a way that will impact them, impact their lives in a meaningful way.
And right, talk to them about stuff they care about.
Yeah. Sorry, and also fighting back and not being afraid of, moving further to the left, right? I think that there are, look, here's something that I witnessed this week that actually enraged me. NPR was having a discussion about how Democrats really need to soften their rhetoric. Their rhetoric has become a little too angry, a little too uncivil, and we need to really reach across the aisle and work together. But do you think conservative talk radio is having conversations about how they really need to tone down their rhetoric and reach across the aisle to work with Democrats? They have no interest. They keep punching us in the face while we play patty cakes.
Well, right? Obama saw that from an administrative standpoint and political standpoint when he began his administration, his first 4 years, by trying to, in a sense, pre-compromise legislation to try to appeal to the other side. And he realized, not until it was too late, in my view, that they're not interested in compromising. They're going to take whatever you compromise and twist it.
We need to put our banjos down.
We do need to put our. You're right. We need Rob Quist. Sorry, we need to put the banjo down. But it's two different things. It's not just rhetoric, because to some extent I agree with the NPR point. Although I suspect I don't, because I know that their tone was a suggestion of compromise. But the language needs to be a language of economic justice.
Yes,
it can be. I don't care how much you try and compromise. You can try and compromise all day if you're trying to compromise about the right things. If you want to say to Republicans, hey, you claim to be populist. Donald Trump ran a populist campaign, said he was going to have health care for everybody, said he was going to reach out, said he was going to not cut taxes to anybody, he was going to raise taxes on the rich. Great. Let's compromise on that. Here are our ideas. You want to talk? We have infrastructure ideas. We have ideas to reduce income inequality. And just let's talk about it, and talk about it in a meaningful way with credible candidates who you believe. So the rhetoric can change a little, not that we have to be passive or back down to them, but eventually, and I'm a big, everything about Russia needs to be talked about in it because it's true. Clearly, right? We don't know exactly what's true, but we know stuff is true, right? But eventually, if you're gonna win, you cannot run a campaign in 2018 where the focus of it is we hate Trump.
That's right.
You are gonna have to have a campaign about things that matter to people in the way that Trump appeared in a totally phony, fraudulent way to be talking about things that matter to people.
Yeah, I think people are conflating the party's identity with the rhetoric. Like the party is having an identity crisis, and they need to work on that and decide what it's gonna be, and then let the rhetoric align with that. The identity of the party can't be like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You have to have your own agenda substantively in order to really push your rhetoric in a direction that's appropriate.
Yeah, I
that's
totally
work.
agree. And there is an identity crisis. I think that there is still a pretty noticeable divide within the Democratic Party. And for me, it's not even about we need to win as Democrats. It's about having ideas that matter, being a party of ideas that matter to most Americans. We want to represent most Americans and their best interests. Right now, we have a party in charge that is not looking out for the best interests of most Americans.
And they have strong ideas. That's why they're winning. Their ideas are clear. Their identity is clear. You know, they want a wall. They want this. They have things that are clear.
Yeah.
And our party is like, well, we just don't like the stuff that they're doing.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's
exactly.
that's a
that's never gonna work.
Read Matt Taibbi's piece in Rolling Stone. It's excellent. It's short, take about 9 minutes, and it's right.
Yeah,
100%
just
of the
like
way.
everything else Matt Taibbi writes. He's amazing.
Membership helps fund the Young Turks. You know one great thing about that? That means we're not accountable to anyone but you guys. That's why we're strong together, because we built this show around you. Come build it even bigger and better at tytnetwork.com/join.